We don't follow all the hype. We don't bend to every view. We just sift through the minutia till the real comes into view. Wary observations, righteous discussion. Unite people when the world feels rough and everybody's searching for a voice they can trust. Word up, we rise above the dust. This is the word up podcast. This is the word up podcast.
There we go. There we go. Wary observations, righteous. I'm sorry. I thought I had the my macro set, but wary observations, righteous discussions, unite people. It's the Word Up Podcast. I am your host, OMNIETC, etc. All right, back at it again. Been busy and finishing up a degree. So close to finishing my degree. Work schedule's crazy. Just come off of a huge season. So we're simmering down on the work schedule, wrapping up this degree, focusing majority of my time on that, as well as coming out with new content ideas and things of that nature across the omniverse, gaming, podcast / reacts wise, the political sphere, the social sphere, all of this. But I wanted to touch on this because it's a big moment. I believe it's going to be a big moment in American history. I'm not going to say it's one of the hugest moments in American history, I believe, but I think it's going to be a moment in which we remember it for quite some time. And I don't know what to make of the American public anymore because it seems like people are so divided that they lose so much sticking to their party that they lose the ability to critical think at times, which is why I remain an independent. I left the Democratic Party a while ago, and it's just because I saw certain things that people weren't able to call out in that party, and conversely, I'm not a Republican for the same reasons. You know what I'm saying? I can't call myself a Republican. I can call myself a conservative because, to those who aren't aware, conservatism isn't necessarily a party. It's a set of values, and I find myself more in alignment with conservative values than liberal ones. Just is what it is. What's up to, let's see, Layla Burton, 4940. She says hi. What's going on? Quee 887. What's going on? So yeah, we're doing a new program. We're doing some different things over here now. We're running it a little bit different. I'm trying to cut down on the amount of time, the amount of fluff. So I'm trying to spend more time compiling all of the evidence beforehand instead of just going down the rabbit hole live. Hasn't been very effective getting my point across, I feel. So, we're going to be talking about the Renee Good shooting, the ICE-involved shooting. But like I said, it seems like people just cannot critically think on certain issues. And it seems like, people are gun-ho and up in arms and want to be protesters and all of these things, but they aren't able to understand that you're going to face certain consequences, certain penalties for certain actions. Now, I have absolutely nothing against peaceful protesting, marching in the street. As long as you're not causing harm to anybody or anyone, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. You're not causing harm to any person, not causing destruction of property or anything like that. I have no problem with it. it's when we get into those things that things get tricky. You know what I mean? Like you throwing snowballs at law enforcement agents has certain penalties. You're throwing snowballs at individuals that are armed. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't protest. If you have something that you feel that you need to protest, protest. But when you come into physical contact, physical violence, what I'm saying, the threat of someone's person, whether it be with the snowball or something else. And snowballs, like we all know, says snowballs were sitting for some time and became ice because we know snow has a tendency to refreeze and it will become harder. So the snowball that you're throwing could actually affect someone in the same fashion that a brick or a baseball would thrown at certain speeds. You know what I'm saying? So when we come into the physicality of things, that's where things get tricky. And that's where I find that, whether or not certain things were justified or, whether or not the use of force or the extent of use of force in certain situations may seem justified. We have to be real and say that if I'm going to physically threaten an individual that is armed with a weapon, it is not completely out of the realm of possibility that they may use that weapon on me. And if you're going to protest and call that a protest and protest in that fashion, you should be ready for that being a consequence. It's not out of the realm of possibility that when you leave your house to get physical in any way, shape, or form with law enforcement. And I'm not even saying that Renee Good left her house to get physical. I don't think that at all was her intent. But when you do certain things and take certain actions against armed individuals, it is not out of the realm of possibility. Not talking legality, not talking morality. The realm of possibility that they may use those arms against you. So take that into consideration when you're protesting. And if you still go out, cool, all right. But there's certain narratives being spun here on both sides. Well, not even on both sides. I'll say there's certain narratives around this being spun that make me think, okay, people cannot critically think. So in order to aptly frame what I'm talking about, somebody who is far more qualified an individual than me named Nate the lawyer. He's an actual lawyer, all right? He has actual credentials. I'm just some guy on the internet. He has a breakdown of the political bias in America today when it regards these types of situations. Talking about people protesting for their beliefs and then taking physical action with those protests, going to damaging property or hurting people, right? That's basically the crux of what I'm presenting. So let's react to this. It's about 20 minutes. So it was a rather quick breakdown by Nate the lawyer, giving him full credit because it's absolutely brilliant. Let's check it out. All right.
On the left, you have so in this picture on the left, you have Ashley Babbitt, who was shot and killed by a Capitol Police officer during the January 6 riots. And on the right, you have Renee Good, who was recently shot and killed by ICE agents in Minnesota. Now on Twitter, I said, quote, legally both were justified. However, based on who you voted for, I bet you only see one of these cases as valid self-defense. And then the comments started coming in. Here is CL, and she says one was shouting, not gonna stop. The other, I'm not mad at you. I responded to that post by saying one drove her car into an officer while our partner cheered, drive baby drive. The other never harmed an officer. The spin works both ways.
Exactly. And that's what makes this utterly brilliant. Hold on. I got to fix this one on this side because it changed. That's right. I changed the framing on one side and it changed it on the other. There we go. All right, because I need the people on the vertical side to see it as well. So, yeah. Here we go. All right.
Now, I know a couple of you are going to say, Nate, the agent wasn't hit by a car. That was fake news. But here is her father-in-law saying it's clear that the agent was hit by the car.
You know,
Her father-in-law.
I love her, and she's a great person. She stayed at my house, and you know, as a family, I think about everything, even the agent, you know, that shot her. I mean, I seen the video. The car did hit him. I mean, you know, there's just so many things we could say. Could he not shot her? I mean, you know, it's just, you know, when things are happening to you like that, at spur of the moment, you know, sometimes you react, but it's just, it's just sad.
So I was challenged to provide my
Absolutely.
receipts on why I believe Ashley Babbitt is justified, and then I was supposed to provide receipts why I believe why the Good shooting was also justified. So in this video, this is not an objective legal breakdown. I want to make that very clear. This is not an objective legal breakdown. This is my opinion on these two cases and why I believe they were both justified shootings. Let's get to the evidence.
So, as a lawyer, it's his opinion, but it's not a legal breakdown. Just gonna get past the ZocDoc stuff, but this is his opinion, all right? But he's still going to break it down like a lawyer, because when you're in that mode, you're in that mode.
One of these cases, the links are in the description. Now, I am well aware that if you are a Trump supporter, you believe Ashley Babbitt was murdered and her shooting was unjustified. Now, there are some Trump supporters who believe that this shooting was justified, but that is more the exception and not the rule. Now, for those of you who may have forgotten, Ashley Babbitt was a 35-year-old Air Force veteran from San Diego who was fatally shot by a Capitol police officer during the January 6 riots at the U.S. Capitol. Now, the Justice Department cleared the officer of any wrongdoing, but in 2025, her family received a $5 million settlement from the federal government for a wrongful death lawsuit.
New developments tonight. The family of Ashley Babbitt, the San Diego woman who was shot and killed during the January 6th Capitol riot, will receive $5 million from the Trump administration as part of a settlement. That's according to a report by the Washington Post made today. Babbitt was an Air Force veteran that was shot and killed by a Capitol police officer after trying to climb through a broken window. Her family filed a $30 million lawsuit over her death, saying the officer who shot her was not in uniform and did not use any warnings. The officer who shot and killed Babbitt was never found of any criminal wrongdoing following an initial investigation by the Justice Department.
Now, let me tell you how this shakes out from a legal perspective. Even though I'm not a lawyer, I'm not claiming to be a lawyer. I just read laws and whatnot. So, from the legal perspective, there is a preponderance of evidence, meaning in terms of civil trials, there's a preponderance of evidence being the standard in order to render a verdict, right? To come to a decision, basically, over the matter at hand. So the preponderance of evidence is basically 51 to 49, meaning we believe this side more so than we believe that side. It's very narrative based. There's certain pieces of evidence and certain types of witnesses that are allowed in a civil trial that aren't allowed in a criminal one. So it's the preponderance of evidence. It's a looser standard than a criminal trial. Criminal trial, the standard is beyond a reasonable doubt, which means we have to be pretty damn certain, because after a criminal conviction, people's freedoms and maybe in some cases their life is on the line. So we have to be certain beyond a reasonable doubt, which means 100%, really like 98, 99% accuracy, that what was said that happened. Civil trial, so when people don't get the judgment that they want in a criminal trial, they don't get the type of recourse that they're looking for in a criminal trial, or some sort of accountability that they're looking for in a criminal trial. What they will then go to is civil to reap something, to have some sort of damages be paid. All right. So that's just how it goes. I mean, we saw it in... we've seen it all the time in numerous things. They don't get... here, Louisville, Kentucky, Breonna Taylor incident, the Breonna Taylor shooting. They didn't take it to criminal. They took it to civil, and they got it. I think the wanton endangerment charge for Brent Hankerson stuck, but they are also overturning it. I haven't looked into why they're overturning it or what the actual details of that case is yet, but that's pretty concerning to me. As someone that was, I'm not gonna dare say I was heavily involved. I was not a member of Breeway or any of that, but I was down there early on when a lot of the marching started on those nights where people took to the street. But yeah, this in this shooting, you know what I'm saying, with Ashley Babbitt, you know, they were causing destruction to property. So I don't think that they would be able to get it on the criminal side. And like I said, it's easier on the civil side because the standard is lower. The standard of evidence, there's more types of evidence allowed in a civil suit than a criminal trial. You know, in a criminal trial, certain evidence that would be considered hearsay, certain witnesses and there's testimony that would be considered hearsay isn't allowed in a criminal trial would be allowed in a civil one. And so when I look at criminal trials and civil trials and things that take place, I'm a beyond reasonable doubt guy. You know what I mean? Beyond reasonable doubt. Another thing that's messed up, because this is the thing. If someone were to break into my domicile, my residence, right? And I shoot them, which I will. I will. If someone was to break into my house and you know, try to steal, if I shoot them and they live, they have the ability to sue me after the fact. Just want to let all gun owners and people with guns know that they will have the ability, if the person that is breaking into your house, they have absolutely no reason to be there. They should not be there by any means. They're completely in the wrong. They broke into the house, they kicked the door in, the whole bit. You gunned them down in self-defense. You are now on the hook for a civil lawsuit. Do with that information what you will in those circumstances. This is not legal advice in any way, shape, or form. I am not a lawyer, nor am I a paralegal. Got to say that. But that's the difference of the standard of criminal and civil. So I'm not really impressed when people go to, I'm not super impressed when people go to the civil, because what we really need is the criminal conviction. Because if somebody was actually wrong in those circumstances, then they should have their freedoms taken. If they were actually wrong, if there was evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that they were wrong, they should have their freedoms taken. And that's truly what I believe. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue down here.
Now, obviously, this upset the liberals in the United States because they believed that Trump had essentially just given away $5 million of taxpayer money to someone who was justifiably shot by police.
The Trump administration has agreed to pay nearly $5 million to the family of Ashley Babbitt. She is the MAGA rioter who was shot and killed by police after she breached the Capitol on January 6th. The officer who was involved was later cleared of criminal wrongdoing. In a statement today, the Capitol Police Chief said he is disappointed with the settlement and that it, quote, sends a chilling message to law enforcement nationwide, especially to those with a protective mission like ours.
Yeah, and that's where I disagree. Like, I really disagree with those actions, like, of this administration. Because if you're going to stand on the side of, yo, we had nothing to do with it, like, you could hear they spun it on Trump to say that he was provoking people to riot. But the actual audio shows that, the actual video shows that he said peacefully protest. He said peacefully protest out of his own mouth. So, after the fact, you pardon them and you bail them out. I disagree. It seems like you support their actions after the fact. You know what I mean? And those actions that led to the hurt and deaths of several individuals. You know what I mean? On both sides, the law enforcement side and the actual protesters. You know what I mean? I think he should have just been hands off about it. Yeah, honestly. So I disagree with the pardons, and I disagree with the payout.
So now that you get a little background of the story, this is why I believe Ashley Babbitt's shooting was justified. So in the case of Ashley Babbitt, we have an eyewitness on the scene. This eyewitness actually still has Ashley Babbitt's blood on his clothing. He's the one who attended to her wounds after she was shot by the Capitol Police officer, and he's there during the event. So here is his account.
Can you just start with your first and last name and where you're from?
Yeah, I'm Thomas Barani from New Jersey.
Can you show us your hand?
Yeah.
How did you get that on your hand?
Well, we had stormed into the chambers inside, and there was a young lady who rushed through the windows. A number of police and Secret Service were saying, get back, get down, get out of the way. She didn't heed the call, and as we kind of raced up to grab people and pull them back, they shot her in the neck, and she fell back on me and started saying she was fine, it's cool. And then she started kind of like moving weird, and blood was coming out of her mouth and neck and nose, and I don't know if she's alive or dead anymore.
And how did you get back out of the building?
Riot police came in and started ushering us out with their sticks.
Where did you enter the building and where did you exit?
Other side with the scaffolding. We tore through the scaffolding through flashbangs and tear gas and blitzed our way in through all the chambers, just trying to get into Congress or whoever we could get into.
They broke in. They ran through flashbangs. They ran through tear gas. They wanted to get to these lawmakers. This witness said police yelled verbal commands. Stop, get back, don't do it. And this witness has even said that they were so nervous enough that they went to pull people back. Now, along with this witness's present sense impression on the scene with the blood in the hand, we also have video evidence of what happened. And now we can tell if his account aligns with the video evidence that we see.
Video evidence of them breaking into a governmental building.
So here's the video.
Let's fucking go! He's got a gun!
Everybody's saying they got a gun. They got a gun.
This is about to get dirty.
Here's our guy here, pulling people back, just like he said. So now police have guns out. They're telling people stay back, don't come through here. And Ashley Babbitt doesn't heed the warning. She jumps up onto the window, trying to enter the restricted area.
That sounds like a fucking gunshot.
Now here's our witness, right next to Ashley Babbitt when she got shot, and she's now laying on the floor bleeding out, and he's going to assist her. Now, this is a second camera angle where here you can actually see the officer, gun drawn, pointing at the door, and as you can also see, the door is barricaded. Now, Ashley Babbitt then jumps through the window, trying to get around the barricade, and this officer shoots. Here's our witness again, attending to Ashley Babbitt's injuries. That's how he had Ashley Babbitt's blood on his hands. So police have guns out, giving verbal commands, barricaded themselves behind the door. A mob of protesters trying to break in, and someone breaks through a window and tries to climb through. The Justice Department, and I think everyone who just looks at the evidence, believes this is an absolutely justified shooting. But she got $5 million anyway, so that's Ashley Babbitt. Now that I've made most of my conservative audience extremely upset with that conclusion, let's move over to Renee Good. Now, Renee Good was involved in criminal activity. In the best light, she was blocking traffic. In the worst light, she's interfering with federal law enforcement operations. Now, this whole incident, from the time officers told her to get out of the car till the third shot from Officer Ross, took about 7 seconds. Here it is, real quick, all 7 seconds.
You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Boom.
So now let's run it back in slow motion. On the left, this is a camera from the officer's perspective, and on the right, this is a perspective from a bystander. So now we're going to see two.
So a bunch of people, like when this first happened, right? This first happened, the arguments against the ICE agent were ridiculous. Oh, he didn't get hit. It was a light. It went from, oh, he didn't actually get hit first. He shot first before he got hit. The video just proved that's untrue. It's untrue. Okay, he didn't get hit first. He shot before he got hit. She wasn't trying to run him over. He didn't have reason to believe that she was going to run him over. He could have just got out of the way in the half second it took to think about anything. Just ridiculous. And I'm really starting to see like what law enforcement has to go through when it comes to the lack of communal empathy people have for them. As soon as you put on that badge, you take up arms and you put on that badge to defend your community from ne'er-do-wells. It's like the American populace just loses all respect, all compassion for your existence. You know what I mean? And their critical thinking skills go out of the window. And, you know, as soon as you put on that badge, it's essentially your job to get run over and shot, beat up on, and have snowballs thrown at you. And, you know what I'm saying? And you're not supposed to do anything back at all. You know what I mean? Like, it's out of reason. And don't get me wrong, when it comes to vocal stuff, like shouting and whatnot, I'm totally in favor. Cuss them out if you can. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to do in peacefully protesting. You know what I mean? But when it comes to physical stuff, you know what I'm saying? This lady ran him over with her car. And like I said earlier, you're dealing with armed individuals who are backed by the laws that govern this land. It is unreasonable for you to not at least consider that getting physical against an armed individual, let's say they're not even law enforcement, it is unreasonable for you to not consider that getting physical with any individual that's armed could not lead to them using that arm against you, that firearm against you.
ICE agents get out of their vehicles and confront the driver who's interfering in federal law enforcement operations, while a third officer is on the other side of the vehicle talking to the driver's wife. Now, as approaching the vehicle, officers give verbal commands, get out of the car.
Get out of the fucking car.
Upon hearing those verbal commands, the wife on the left side of the screen attempts to get back into the car so she can escape with her wife. But she can't get in because the doors are locked. Now, when officers get to the vehicle and put their hands on the door, the driver puts the car in reverse. You can see that by the white light here. So let's look at it from a bird's eye view. You have the officer at the door confronting the driver. You have the wife at the passenger side door trying to get in. And you have another officer at the front passenger side filming the wife. Now we're going to switch back to the officer's cell phone camera so we can see what's going on the passenger side of the vehicle. So now, at this moment in time, the officer is not in front of the vehicle. But now, this is a big point of contention, whether the officer stood in front of the vehicle or whether the vehicle pointed in the direction of the officer. So the only way we'll know that is by looking at the tires of the vehicle. If the tires move and place the officer in front of the vehicle, then it's the person in the vehicle who put the officer's life in danger.
Tires move.
So videos don't lie. The driver maneuvered the vehicle and pointed it directly at the officer. So as you remember, this entire event took 7 seconds, and now the car is pointed directly at the officer. So now we get to play it at full speed and see how long the officer has to get out from in front of the vehicle before the driver slams on the gas. So after putting the officer in front of the vehicle, she only gave the officer 1.85 seconds. So after slamming the
1.85
gas,
seconds
she gives
isn't
the
enough
officer less
time to
than...
think about anything. So she only gave him what? So she put the car directly in the path of the officer, right? And then slammed on the gas forward on the icy road, so the wheels started spinning before it could actually grip the ground. The tire was spinning before it could grip the ground, and when it did, and the whole car jutted into his frame. He was lucky he was somewhat on the side of it because he could have easily ended up underneath that car.
2 seconds to get out from in front of the vehicle, and the officer doesn't make it, and he's hit by the vehicle.
Let's go back to the lie. Here's the officer. Here's the vehicle reversing. The officer is not in front of the vehicle. She reverses.
This portion he got from Tim Cass. He got this from Tim Cass, the breakdown. See, I'm not the only one that does this. I leave the, you know what I'm saying, when someone brings an apt professional perspective, I don't know if Tim Cass is actually a lawyer. I don't know his credentials. But I'm saying, when someone has a great breakdown, I'd rather not try to plagiarize their work, and I'd rather just cite it. You know what I mean? So shout out to Tim Cass, shout out to Nate the lawyer.
And now he is in front of the vehicle. He initially is to the right of the vehicle. By all means argue he should not have placed himself in this position. We're talking about seconds. Now watch this. The vehicle stops here. The wheels are pointed left. As you can see, the officer is standing right in front of the vehicle. Now watch this. Right there. You see the front tire? Watch the front tire right here.
Spinning,
the wheels are pointed left, and she accelerates. The wheel spins out on ice.
Yeah.
Then, with the...
Because it can't grip it because she's slamming on the brake so hard. And even on dry roads, when you not slamming on the brakes, but when you hit the gas that hard, even on dry conditions, right? The wheel will take like a half a second to grab the ground if you're just flooring it from an idled position.
The wheels pointed at the officer, having spun out already, meaning the officer can hear the engine rev with it pointed at him. He draws his weapon. And in a second, because this is slow mode, she then begins to turn right, hitting him, and he shoots.
Now, as CNN's about to tell you, while the officer was getting hit by the vehicle, the officer let out 3 successive shots.
Well, the slowdown version is showing me that when the SUV pulls forward, they make contact with the agent in the street, and then immediately following that contact, you hear 3 gunshots follow.
So after this vehicular assault, if we run the tape back, you can actually hear the wife outside telling the driver to, quote, drive, baby, drive.
Yes, and this is my main thing when it comes to this, right? With the whole drive, baby, drive thing, is that she was just being She was just agitating and aggravating the officer. She was saying, "You want to come at us?" Like, very come at me, bro activity. You want to come at me, bro? You want to come at us? You want to come at us? You know, now I'm not going to speak for, these are two women, granted, but in the world of men, you know what I mean, I walk into a bar full of men and I say, anybody here want to come at me? Y'all want to come at me? You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, not even a bar, that's too neutral. I'm already at odds with somebody having words with someone, right? It gets heated. It becomes a heated discussion. And I see him getting upset. And I say, what, you want to come at me? You want to do something to me? So they're egging this on. So when I'm standing directly in front of the vehicle, you tell your wife to essentially drive, baby, drive, while the vehicle's pointed at me, and you were just trying to goad me into a fight, or it seemed like you were trying to provoke me into a fight, it is not out of the realm of reason in that person's mind that you may be telling your wife to run them over in that moment. It is not out of the realm of possibility that in his mind he was thinking, she's telling her wife to run me over.
Get out of the car.
Drive, baby, drive right into the officer that you put in front of the car. So let's recap. We have a driver who's blocking traffic intentionally. She repositions the car to put the officer right in front of the car. With the officer in front of the car, her wife screams, drive, baby, drive, and she rams the car into the officer. While the officer is being struck by the car, he shoots into the car 3 times, eventually ending the threat to his life. Now, this was obviously a justified shooting, and the people who are trying to make it not a justified shooting are absolutely lying to you. They're lying to you about whether the officer was hit. They're lying to you about the positioning. They're lying to you even about the timing. It's so funny because in the hood, people are laughing at this. They're like, this is the ultimate white privilege. Who the heck can run down an officer who has their gun out pointing at you when they hit the officer and the officer shoots you, then claim that you're the victim?
There's about to be a lot of pissed off people when I say this, and hear me good. There's no way I could ever be an ICE agent because I'm sparing nobody. And I hate to say that because I am not a person that, you know, condones violence. But this is what I'm not gonna do. I would never kiss my husband, kiss my wife, kiss my kids goodbye, go out and, you know, do my job because I'm trying to be a productive member of society. And I'm met with bricks being thrown at me, people spitting on me, people trying to run me over with their car. And when I defend myself, then it's, look at the brutality, look at these animals. Ain't no way I'm sparing anybody. Absolutely the hell not.
That car wasn't a misunderstanding. It wasn't confusion. It wasn't fear. A vehicle at that weight is a deadly weapon. Period. Point blank. So cope.
So let me get this right. You woke up, got dressed, brushed your teeth, and said, let me go outside, find some ICE agents, and let me go obstruct some law, and let me go act like I'm fucking Superwoman and could beat up ICE agents. And let me go block the road with my car when I see ICE agents and don't let them out. And then try to run over them when they come at me.
Absolutely.
And now, I'm unalived. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I don't wake up in the morning looking for ICE agents, you know?
You're dumb.
I really don't. Since the time Trump got in office, bro. And now, look at this, another incident. When is y'all gonna learn that you cannot fight the police? Especially ICE agents. That's on you. If you think you Mr. Get Bad and you think you freaking Captain Save a fucking immigrant and you go out there with your car trying to hit people, the ICE agents, and think it, and then when you get shot, everybody in the world, all the liberals and shit want to cry. Oh my God, they did this, they did no.
Right.
I tell people just like I tell the black people, leave police alone.
I know it was coming. So here it is. I'm gonna tell you, fuck your feelings. Facts is facts. At the end of the day, I don't want to hear, oh, she had 3 kids, or she had a 6-year-old. She was a good mother. She wasn't considering any of that when she got her ass behind that wheel and started operating it and drove it at a fucking federal officer.
So as you see,
Absolutely.
nobody in a hood is really fooled by this, because we understand you don't use your car as a weapon and try to run down the police who are in the middle of doing their jobs. I said it. They said it. Now, with all that being said, I do want to...
Now, it should be noted that, ICE has, if you think your local law enforcement is some, ICE is actually a part of DHS, is actually a part of Department of Homeland Security, which means they operate in a federal capacity. These are federal agents. These aren't just your typical local law enforcement. This isn't a sheriff deputy. This isn't in your local police department. They actually have more protection and more credence of what they're allowed to do because they operate at the federal capacity. So it's like, in effect, if you're dealing with ICE, you're dealing with someone that's near or on the same level as the FBI. So again, I'm not telling you what to do. This ain't legal advice, but with that information, do with it and act how you want to act. Do what you want to do. People are not even thinking, like, immigrant. I will say this. I'm gonna tuck the video back for now, at least on this side. I'll say this. I'll say this. People are not even taking into consideration that, none of this, there was absolutely no pushback during the Obama administration, where he still holds to this day the record on immigration. Now, I think he probably handled it a little bit better because Trump's administration is anytime, any place, anywhere. Whereas the majority of Obama's terms, he focused ICE in I think it was a 2 a.m. capacity. So when people were still more than likely than not in their homes. And if we're being completely honest, I could pull up the video, but I don't think I got time for it. If we're being completely honest, he had situations during his presidency where, ICE was messing up, getting the wrong people, had incidents of people being shot, all of this. But as far as law enforcement goes, ICE maintains the gold standard of incidents. Like, they're actually, I know the media is spinning it and putting it out to be a big thing, but their record is better than local law enforcement as a whole in any city, any county, any jurisdiction throughout all the 50 states. Their record for actually getting it right more than they're getting it wrong is not to be tried. So I don't know what people are actually out there protesting, marching against and whatnot. They have the freedom to do so. I don't feel like it's any of my concern, honestly, because these people did not show up in droves. These illegal immigrants did not show up in droves for the things that are concerning to me, for situations that I saw. So I don't know why so many people are coming out for them in this time, especially because situations like, and coming out with the attitude like this is fun and games, like this is something that this is supposed to be a fun or funny activity, stick it to the man type thing. No, protest is a very serious ordeal and endeavor. You can lose your life, your livelihood, and your freedom. every time during a protest, every time you go out and you walk out of your house, you must do so with the attitude that you're probably not going to make it home. You have to have that sort of attitude that you might not make it back, because the people that you're facing in the protests, they have to consider that when they go out, they might not make it back home. So, I mean, Obama held the record. They had faux pas and mess ups and slip ups and things where they got it wrong, where ICE got it wrong during his administration. But the fact that he was able to deport record numbers of immigrants, I think it's like around 4 million immigrants, unimpeded by the public interest. Nobody got in his way. Nobody pushed back on him. Nobody tried to run over agents with their car. Nobody was shooting at agents. Nobody was throwing snowballs. Nobody was rioting in the streets, disrupting their operations. You know what I mean? And there's a difference between being disruptive of their operations and protesting. If they're operating in an official capacity, I have it on good authority. You know, I've talked to law enforcement agents. If they're operating in an official capacity and you are disruptive of their operation, yes, they have the right to remove you, take you off the street, lock you up for however long, whatever the process is. So I really want people, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you to go out there, not go out there. I'm telling you specifically, I'm telling you that you need to have your ducks in a row. If you do so, you need to understand the weight of your actions and what that means for you and your family members and the people that you take care of. Because what I don't like is when people after the fact bring up, oh, she's a mother of 3 and all of this. Was she considering that when she left her home that day to disrupt their actions, to get in the way of what they were doing? Did she consider leaving her children behind permanently when she was when she charged herself with the task of confronting armed men? Because if you confront an individual with a weapon, you must think, okay, this person could use this against me. They're not just, I don't know why you think they're toy soldiers that aren't going to react to you running them over with a vehicle or doing anything to them. This is their job. This is what they're paid to do. So bringing up the fact that she has children is really a moot point, because was she considering those children in taking the actions that she took?
In the video with this, Renee Good was not a domestic terrorist. That's just not true. Ashley Babbitt was not a domestic terrorist. That's not true. There were two people who ideologically are split, and they were fighting for causes they believe in. They thought they were helping the country. Ashley Babbitt went to Washington and did what she did because she thought she was helping the country. Renee Good was out there in the streets in the snow wrestling with ICE officers because she thinks she's helping the country. Now, at the end of the day, I believe both of these women made horrible mistakes that just cost them their lives. And I think when you step back and understand from the perspective that I'm coming from, here are the facts, here are the law, what is most likely to happen. And I know I'm going to lose subscribers off this video. I absolutely know it. And the reason why I know it is because no matter what facts are down there, no matter how many will prove it, some people just want to be told what they want to hear. And I don't do that. I tell you what I believe to be the truth. In both of these cases.
And I try to do that as well. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear either. This is not the place for that. So I think we've seen enough of that, but I want to get to the reaction after the fact, because we broke down the video and all of that, and I felt the need to use that in order to keep a unbiased perspective as we walk this thing down. So let's get to Jasmine Crockett's reaction of this. Hold on.
I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle. The fact that a woman was killed She was shot in her head and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you? Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? A child. The child has lost her mom.
Now, this footage is rather grainy. I'm not even certain if I don't see any tears, but I'm not believing the performance either. Cause yeah, it's not hitting for me.
And y'all want to pretend that it is okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not believing it. Let me see. Let's see. Let's go down. Yeah, the comment section. The comment section isn't. The comment section isn't agreeing with her either. Check this out. The daytime Emmy goes to Jasmine Crockett. Bad choices equal bad consequences. Absolutely. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. There were no actual tears. Right. That mom was part of a group dedicated to attacking ICE. The law applied to her, too. She made decisions which put her in a direct pathway to the potential of her own demise. It is a tragedy, but I'm certain that it's a tragedy of our own making. This is what I'm saying. Like, when people come at me, it's like, oh my God, this happened, but why did it happen? Let's break it down. And I'm not saying that the loss of life isn't a big deal. Of course, the loss of life is a big deal, but like that, people are completely discounting the 1.85 seconds that officer had to think about his own life. She jeopardized his life. He could have easily landed underneath that car. And so I guess the standard for law enforcement is that when you sign up for the job, in the minds of many Americans, is that you're just supposed to die. You're just supposed to risk your death. Not even risk your death, but in those circumstances, you're just supposed to die. You're supposed to get hit by cars, and that's the standard of law enforcement. That's what they can expect out of doing their job. Sad, man. Okay, let's get to what I want to talk about, because what's not being talked about, right? What's not being talked about is while Jasmine Crockett has these tears and everybody has all of this outrage over this incident that was bound to happen, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner, right? What's not being talked about is Dakara Thompson from earlier in 2025, as well as Larisha Sheila Thompson, right? Like, people are forgetting why ICE is out there. Oh my God, ICE, you're disrupting very important work. And I'm going to go to this article first on Sheila Thompson. Not Sherelle. Larisha Sherelle Thompson, right? I'm going to this article first to break it down. 6 illegal aliens, and this is from the Department of Homeland Security's website. Up at the top, you can see it. The Department of Homeland Security's website. All right, DHS.gov. Larisha Sherelle Thompson, all right, a black woman. Local authorities, and this is back in 2025, May 15. Local authorities have charged 6 illegal aliens between the ages of 3 and 21 with the random murder of a South Carolina mother of 2. This woman is also a mother. Oh, hold on. You cannot see this on the main screen. Okay, so I'll take it from the top. 6 illegal aliens charged This article is from the Department of Homeland Security, DHS.gov. I suggest you tap in and tune into it. 6 illegal aliens charged for brutal murder of South Carolina mother in random attempt robbery. All right. The release date of this article was May 15. May 15, so almost a year ago. May 15, 2025. Lancaster, South Carolina, local authorities have charged 6 illegal aliens between the ages of 13 and 21 with the random murder of a South Carolina mother of 2. Larisha Sherelle Thompson. They have also been charged with the burglary and attempted armed robbery. All right. And you can see their pictures down here. All right. There's 3 of them. And this, let me see if I could zoom in on it. You could really see her. This is the woman that they unalived. All right. And these are the ones that are currently behind bars for it. All right. It was 6 of them. I have not heard Jasmine Crockett bring this up once, but they will consistently get, nor any of the other Democratic parties bring this up once, but they will consistently gaslight you into thinking that it's not a problem. All right, let's go to let's go here to the local news. I couldn't get South Carolina, so we're doing North Carolina. I hope that's close enough for y'all. But I'm sure somebody in the comments is gonna be like, "Oh, you did it from North Carolina instead of South Carolina, so it doesn't count." WCNC for the report. Oh, I didn't. Nah, I did. All right, let's do it.
Tonight, 6 people, including teenagers, they're facing charges after a local mother was shot in her car. 40-year-old Larisha Thompson was shot and killed in her car off Riverside Road in Lancaster. The sheriff's office says the people arrested are tied to another crime as well, and because of their immigration status, they also now face deportation. WCNC Charlotte Jesse Pierre is in Lancaster with the latest developments.
Larisha Thompson's life ended in tragedy, gunned down while she was driving down the road. Tonight, 6 people between the ages of 13 and 21 years old facing murder charges in this case.
People like this have no place in our society, and we will do everything in our power to make sure the full weight of the law is brought down on these 6 individuals.
6 people, including 4 teenagers, are behind bars facing multiple charges. The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office says, first, the group tried and failed to break into a convenience store, damaging a bathroom door and shooting up the security cam. Days later, they say that group shot and killed 40-year-old Larisha Thompson.
Somebody lost their mom, their sister, aunt.
Somebody lost their mom, their sister, their aunt, their family member. Somebody lost a woman that was very important to their family dynamic. They lost a mom. But over here, where is it? Where is it?
A child. A child has lost her mom.
But,
security cam. Days later, they say that group shot and killed 40-year-old Larisha Thompson.
Somebody lost their mom, their sister, aunt, mother. Just a tragedy. This person is out doing the same thing you and I do, just driving down the road, minding their own business.
The sheriff says Thompson was driving down Riverside Road on her way to meet friends when the group tried to rob her. He says 21-year-old Azael Torres Chirinos is the one who pulled the trigger, hitting Thompson, leaving her for dead in her car.
And if anybody's wondering why they are only showing 3 faces as opposed to all 8, is because the 3 of them are underage and they were put up to it by the older kids. Simply put, if you're above a certain age, they put your face in the news. If you're under a certain age, they hide your identity. It's child protection laws, basically.
Car. Officials say none of the suspects are in the country legally and should not have had the gun.
They took the life of an innocent young lady, didn't have the right to be here, much less commit these crimes here.
Detainers have been placed on all 6, so if any of them were to become eligible for release, they would be taken into ICE custody. In Lancaster,
As they should be. Not only that, when they're taken into custody, guess, you know what I'm saying, these kids aren't here by themselves. So when they're taken into custody, it's likely they're going to have to give up family members as well. Another story that, Jasmine Crockett shed not one tear for.
Courage and humanity.
Right. Dakara Thompson, another black young lady. She was at the time of her death, 19 years old. Not even a full-blown adult. She was still in her teens. An immigrant, an undocumented immigrant, had his way with her, unalived her, and left her under an overpass. Let's go to NBC4 Washington for the report.
Developing now, there's been major movement in the case of a missing teenager later found dead.
The Prince George's County State's Attorney says the suspect, Hugo Hernandez Mendez, has been indicted on 3 charges connected to 19-year-old Dakara Thompson's death.
News 4's Juliana Valencia joins us now live outside the Prince George's County Courthouse with details on the indictment. Juliana?
Yeah, so Dakara had just turned 19, a graduate from St. Charles High School in Waldorf, when she disappeared in...
Just graduated, just turned 19, black girl, unalived.
August. 2 weeks later, though, her body was found on a riverbank in Anne Arundel County. Soon after, Hernandez Menendez was arrested. That 35-year-old is now formally indicted on charges of murder, tampering with evidence, and disposing of a body in an unauthorized place. Dakara Thompson's mom described her daughter as being an outgoing but soft-spoken person, and we heard from her last month when Hernandez Menendez first appeared in court.
I just want justice served for my daughter.
Hernandez Menendez, who was living in the U.S. illegally, was actually arrested by U.S. Park Police for a suspected DUI back in April. However, the federal government released him while he was awaiting trial. Now he is being held without bond for Dakara's murder. Back to you.
All right, Juliana Valencia reporting for us from Prince George's County this morning. Thank you.
We watched her parents put in a valiant effort to find her. We do know that Dakara Thompson's murder hit home with so many of you. A lot of people wondered why it took so long for her case to get attention after her family reported her missing.
The reason why it took so long
In an effort to get more
the reason why it took so long for her case to get attention is because it was against the narrative that media typically pushes. That's the number one reason why. That's the number one reason why. Let's go. Okay, so that's the initial reporting. Let's see. Where is the outrage for this young lady? Absolutely. Let's look at the comments. Let's deep dive into the comments. I want to know how they encountered each other. Why was she with him? How did they identify him as the... Okay, so many unanswered questions. Oh, okay. So these people are trying to let him off the hook, even though they have reason to believe and reasonable suspicion that he was. Okay. Iris, I'm interested to know why there is only one pic of Hugo Hernandez, more like a press release. Let's see. he was not charged with kidnapping, so unfortunately she voluntarily went with him. Parents, sadly, this is a teachable moment. This is teachable moments to discuss with your children. Ooh, so I want to see the fact. I'm interested in the facts of this case as well. I think if he wasn't charged with kidnapping and she volunteered to go with him, maybe she needed a ride somewhere and that was it. Yeah, you could thank Biden for that. Not oh, Jesus. This is what I'm saying. Like, people are crazy. Pray for justice. Pray for justice. What's the difference when a body is thrown in an unauthorized place or authorized? So, an illegal murder is a black person. Democrats have nothing to say about that racist. Interesting. I wouldn't call it racist. I don't think he did it because it was he did it because she was an unprotected girl. I don't think necessarily a black girl. I think calling the person the migrant racist is a bit of a stretch. But here's a little bit more reporting on it, and a few more details.
Tonight, WJZ investigates uncovering new information about the murder of a 19-year-old whose body was dumped over a bridge near Annapolis. A suspect we know in custody tonight, and authorities say he's in the country illegally. Investigator Mike Halgren live in Anne Arundel County with what charging documents reveal about this man and the case. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Rick. 7 pages of detailed charging documents. This suspect was from Guatemala. According to court records, he worked for a Baltimore-based landscaping company. Police used surveillance video and cell phone tracking to build their case. This suspect is now being held without bail. And a warning, some of the details you're about to hear are disturbing.
This is a good young woman who wanted to do good for her community.
Have you seen Dakara?
A heartbreaking end to the search for 19-year-old Dakara Thompson. Her family desperately looked for answers for weeks.
I want my baby back. I just simply want my daughter back.
Police found Thompson's body on Route 50 near Interstate 97 in the Annapolis area. According to charging documents, WJ...
That was real crying. That was real crying.
The investigates obtained, the suspect, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, threw her body off a highway bridge into the South River. She had skull and facial fractures. Her family identified her through tattoos.
At this time, there are no additional suspects. However, this investigation is ongoing.
Thompson, who lived with her dad, disappeared after going out to get gas. She sent him this text.
I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night.
The 19-year-old is seen on surveillance video leaving her SUV behind in Hyattsville. According to charging documents, she approached the suspect's GMC Yukon and after approximately a minute of conversing, walks over to the passenger side of the vehicle and gets into the passenger front seat.
Oh, sweetheart, what were you doing?
Police say they drove to his house in Bowie and believe he killed her in his bedroom.
Oh, Jesus. Jesus.
A roommate reports hearing the defendant having sex and then a grunting noise, which made it believe that someone wasn't enjoying the sex. After executing a search warrant, police found what they
Sweetheart, nah.
believed to be the victim's blood and missing fingernail, along with hair and other evidence in the bedroom and in the trash, along with multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie. Hernandez Mendez agreed to an interview, telling detectives he went to a nightclub to meet his ex-girlfriend, but never did. When detectives questioned further, the defendant denied any involvement. Prince George's officials say Hernandez Mendez was in the...
So he picked her up. She was... hate to say it, but she was prostituting herself, put herself in harm's way, dealing with men. And she wasn't feeling it. She wanted it to stop. He kept going, which is grape. And when he was done, unalived her, threw her around a riverbank off of an overpass.
The United States illegally. U.S. Park Police arrested him for a DUI 5 months ago, but let him go.
The U.S. Government has made status of individuals relevant. This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him.
So when I tell you that ISIS is a necessary component of the United States, that didn't start with Donald Trump. I mean, come on. They had him in custody. They decided to let him go. And this took place, what was the first video? Because the first video was, no, that's 3 months ago. But this happened months ago. Dakara Thompson went missing literal months ago. So this is what it is. I wonder how many more this man has murdered. Now the comments are looking different under this one because they didn't softball it like in this report. This one, actually, we have the facts. We have the evidence. This is probably killer. Definitely not the first time. He's probably a serial killer. R.I.P. Viewable girl. He treated her like a piece of trash. Funny this wasn't mentioned on CNN or MSDNC. Right? Yeah. No daughter of mine is leaving the house at night to buy gas. I'm a man. I don't do gas station, and I don't do gas stations at night. She ain't mine, but I'm too up about this on many levels. Yeah, this one I resonate the most because as a father, you're not going to tell me that you're leaving the house to get gas late at night. That's not going to gel with me. First of all, you're my daughter. You're not going to tell me that you're leaving the house at that hour of the night because the only thing open is a gas station and legs. And so you had to say gas station. But no. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. You're keeping your butt in the house. I don't care how aggravated you get with me, how agitated you get with me. Keeping your butt at home. Because I know what's outside the home. At those hours. So yeah, you can't stop an adult from leaving your home. Yeah, you can. They would call you controlling, abusive, but you're right. Fathers are supposed to protect their daughters from demons of the night. You know what I mean? They say you can't stop an adult from leaving your home. Yeah, but I can institute it to where her life isn't as comfortable. I could tell her, listen, as long as you're under the standard wasn't age. Like, y'all get it wrong with this parenting thing when it comes to legal age. The standard is an age. If you're an adult and you're that big and bad, then cool, facilitate your own lifestyle at this point. Because if you're going to be doing whatever you want to do when you're under my roof, then you need to get out from under my roof because my roof has this standard and this is how we're doing things under my roof. So yeah, you're right. She is an adult. She can do what she wants to do. Cool. She's going to have to do it outside of this home. That's what I would have did as a father. So honestly, I think the father failed her at first by not instituting that standard that she is not to leave to get gas. And honestly, if I was her father and she told me that, I'd be like, oh, you need gas in your car for the morning? I'll get the gas. Then I'll get into the car and I'll see, oh, this tank's on full already. Yeah, you don't need gas. What made you think you need gas? And then we have that conversation. But she had been doing this before, which is why she was comfortable. She knew the procedure. She understood the assignment of how to maneuver and where to park and what lie to tell dad. Yeah, no. Wouldn't fly in my household. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I got to put it on the father for not being protective enough. And then I got to put it on the mother possibly trying to get the father to stop being so protective, because fathers and daughters around that age, they usually butt heads because the daughter wants to do what she wants to do, and the father is going to be protective. So I think more likely than not, the mother was being protective, was defending the daughter from the father, and what have you. That's usually how that goes. It's just my thoughts. And because they weren't so tight knit, this activity fell through the cracks, and now we don't have Dakara around anymore. But also the fact that this man was emboldened to do this because he had been caught, released, and let go, right? And they let him go, and he was put back on the streets, and now we see the result. This is about the same as that white woman in the subway. This is about the same thing as that white woman in the subway. I forget her name. It escapes me. They got killed in the subway by someone who was caught and released a bunch of times. This man was caught and released a bunch of times. Oh, he wasn't caught and released a bunch of times, but he was caught, released, put back on the street. And this girl is no longer with us as a result of it. So people really need to simmer down when it comes to ICE. My honest belief is that people, when it comes to ICE, don't know what they're talking about. They're just up in arms because they were told to be, because they were told that the president is horrible and It's been marketed to them so much that they've been brainwashed. They sip the Kool-Aid of propaganda, and so they think that the world's problem is their problem, and they got to take it on personally. Now, but what I will say is I find it very disingenuous that this story doesn't get as much attention. The Democratic Party, which is supposed to be the party of human rights and all of these things, right? And especially of black people, you know what I'm saying? Because black people think that the Democrats are their friends for whatever reason, even though they are the party of Jim Crow legislation and slavery. So, this girl didn't deserve to die. This girl didn't deserve to die. The amount that's not being talked about, Jasmine, where are your tears for this young lady? Where are they?
A child.
So yeah, that's where I'm at with this story. Wary observations, righteous discussions, unite people. It's the Word Up Podcast. I'm your host, OMNI ETC.
Omni.
And check it out, man. Listen, you guys really got to start doing your due diligence, doing your digging into certain things. You got to understand that the first thing that comes in front of your face, I know on these social media platforms, you're scrolling all day on the phone. If it enrages you, investigate it. Get to the root of it. See what the foundation is. Do not just go off of 10-second clips, these TikTok clips and whatnot. We got to be more thorough, and we got to understand that, what we're seeing is what they want us. What they're showing is what they want to show us. But we have to do the digging, the research, and understand that they're not going to show us the bigger picture, the broader perspective. We got to do our due diligence. And people they're saying, oh, no, illegal immigrants are not committing these crimes. You know what I'm saying? Undocumented immigrants are not committing these crimes and doing this, are not a threat to the American public. Larisha, Sherelle Thompson, and Dakara Thompson would disagree with you, as well as their families. A 40-year-old woman and a 19-year-old child. Peace, love, health, wealth to you all. Till next time, we out.
We don't fall.